So in part one, I did a quick run through of my multi-shot theory just to get the word out. Part two, I should just cover what I think about the autopsy, the connections that I see there. So I want to start with the Stephen Gardner show.
Okay, here's what I've gathered. The injury to Charlie Kirk's neck starts at the C2 neck vertebrae. The bullet crashed through C2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, sadly, completely destroying Charlie Kirk's spinal cord. This is what made him tense up. This is what made his heart stop beating and why gushes of blood versus squirts of blood were coming out of him. The doctor found the main portion of the bullet near his T1 thoracic vertebrae, so near the spine, down where the neck vertebrae connect to the upper back vertebrae.
So not only is that information pretty spectacular, I think it changes some of my analysis if it's true. Bullet is coming at around a 10-degree downward angle. If it just lodged into T1, okay, that makes perfect sense. But what we're also saying is that somehow a
bullet crashed through C2, 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Folks, that is nuts to me.
Third shot at the back of his head, crashing through the C2, down his neck, and then causing the decorticate posturing and coming out where you see the exit wound. That's why it happens last. I say last. If you watch it slow, you understand what I mean.
Basically enter below his Adam's apple and then also hit T1. But
the very first shot, hitting his collar at his necklace, embedding his necklace, sending it slinging, shattering the road mic.
We also had bullet fragments go downward and
possibly the second shot at his heart,
potentially decimate his heart. Now, going back to what he also said regarding soft point or full metal jacket.
Also, near T1, but not next to the bullet, were multiple fragments of the bullet.
Possibly the second shot, or still some aftermath of the first shot down through.
Now, a full metal jacket 30-06 round would have gone right through Charlie, would have gone right through the bone of Charlie.
Yep, it would have gone right through that bone.
A soft point 30-06 would likely have mushroomed, but caused massive amounts of damage, which we didn't see. We also know for a fact no bullet left his body. There was no blood spray, no blood spatter, and no hole in the banner behind him.
Now, I'm going to tell you, as someone who's grown up in the country, I've shot a 30-06 myself before. I've seen them be shot through things. I'm sorry, you are not fooling me. I'm sorry. There is no way you will ever tell me that. Nope. And any man that knows better is lying if they say otherwise, straight to your face. If they shot a gun or if they even know what they do, they're lying. I'm going to tell you. I don't care. Straight up, they're lying.
So I completely agree with that. Nothing that we're seeing here can be explained by a full metal jacket round, a soft tip hunting round, and then the fact that we do not have an exit wound is one of the most inexplicable, with a 30-06, is one of the most inexplicable parts of this entire case.
I can't believe it, y'all. Again, I agree with the Kandahar Giant. Okay, so now I wanted to play Nate from Valhalla's interpretation of the autopsy. You say the best for last. We're Nate fans around this house. Pull up. Pardon my background sound. The GOD, Great Outdoors, which is why my husband's building me my own little studio.
Right, as we pull the protractor off, what's the first huge glaring issue you guys are going to see here? Oh, well, if Charlie Kirk was sitting level, sort of parallel to the ground with his jaw, which he was, let me show you that real quick. All right, so we can see Charlie Kirk is not, got his head all the way back like this. He's sitting pretty much flat, looking at the crowd, sort of jaw parallel to the ground as he gets hit. Boom, hit. So you can see that, right? It's actually a little bit of a tilt down even.
So right here, boom, first shot. Now, he is not hit in the back of his head yet. Right now, he's getting hit at his collar. Technically, this is like the second frame, depending on what video you're watching, which I showed on my last video. You do see a frame before this, but this is the reaction frame. So what just happened was he got shot at his necklace, at his collar of his shirt, in the T1 and down through his body. But when he gets hit at his T1, well, goes into the T1. But when this is happening and he gets hit at his necklace, at his collar, that's when it breaks the necklace from the front side that swings down. But also it's putting the air down through the collar. All the air from that energy of the shot at his collar is pushing it down through this collar and blowing it down, but also up at his hair and everything. But also at the same time, his necklace is swinging, taking off because it got shot. It has all that energy that's channeling through the broken necklace from being shot, and it's slinging through his shirt, which is opened up a little bit because of the air, which gives it a little more room to run into the Rode microphone or the transmitter, whatever, and shattered it. I do believe it shattered. They don't want you to know that because they can't explain why it would have shattered. And just like they don't, like they're funny about the necklace. Just like they're funny about the necklace. Just like they're funny about the shattered mic. I'm telling y'all, ladies, y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all know the weight of the necklace. Y'all know what I mean about the heavier, more legit the necklace, the heavier the pendants, the heavier they swing. Especially us that, you know, were blessed, or whoever blessed themselves. You know, it makes it bounce around worse. So we feel the energy even more than a man would. But being an active woman, especially younger, nowadays I don't wear really long necklaces, but being in sports, well, cheerleading and running every day, constantly, you know, it would flop, or even just doing stuff as a mom, you know, or anything you're trying to do. But the weight of that necklace, you notice it, especially as a woman. But so that's what's happening right now.
All right, this is essentially exactly how Charlie Kirk is sitting. And they want to tell you the medical examiner report confirms he was first hit in the C2 vertebrae, right below the base of the skull. Biggest problem I see with that, from the angle Tyler Robinson shoots him from, is that would have hit him in the teeth, or even above the teeth.
You know, this is an important point that just gets overlooked. And I think it's funny because other people in their videos don't even really acknowledge this in this way.
There is no possible way that this round came from a 9-degree angle and a 9-degree slope and hit the C2 while not blowing through Charlie Kirk's face. It's not
Facts.
a thing. We also can see the
Not a
C2 is
thing.
not where that gunshot wound is. I can show you that right here. All right, as you can see here, yeah, he's got some tilt back now after he's been hit, but that round, sorry for my beard, that round is 2-3 inches below his chin. Okay, this round is not all the way up, just underneath the base of the jaw. It's pretty far down. I would say that's closer to the C4 or the C5 to where that round, to me, looks like he got hit. So big problems right away with this medical examiner report, but let's keep looking at this. All right, so we know this is not possible. Okay, this definitely didn't happen. But if we look at the actual sort of injury to Kirk, looks like he's shot closer to about right here, okay, on that left side of the neck. Now, if we look at it this way, now we can make this work for the location of the shot if it inches and hits the C5, but that's not what they're saying. They're saying it hit the C2. Next thing with this, we're talking about a 30-06 round. Right now you have this 30-06 round traveling at 24 to 2,700 feet per second, or even less, doesn't even matter. Hits him, let's say, hits him in the C2, if this magic bullet that doesn't go through his face somehow. That then refracts straight down into the T1. Yeah, that's not what a 30-06 round is going to do if it hits a human neck vertebrae. We know it's going to blow right through. But even if there was some weird refraction, bullets aren't going to refract almost 90 degrees. We've talked about that, and then keep their actual velocity to be able to do that much damage. Not really a thing. Again, so with just basic middle school math, we already disproved this whole medical examiner's report, or the fact that the shot was taken from where it was taken, a 90-degree slope from straight on. Charlie Kirk sitting flat, parallel chin to the ground. Not possible. It would have hit him in the teeth, not 5 inches lower than the teeth. It's not a thing. So because we know that's not possible, if we're assuming the medical examiner report is true and accurate, now we have to look at alternatives to how this could have taken place. What he talks about here is interesting because it actually is going to bring us into the next possibility.
But that was not an entry wound that we saw. We saw an exit wound. So where'd that bullet come from? You don't bleed like, and I've shot guys closer than the camera was. And an entry wound doesn't look like that. An exit wound does. Why did his shirt move the way it did? When I've shot people, their shirts didn't move like that. And then the initial reaction was, well, he was obviously wearing body armor and it was deflection. One, no. He wasn't wearing body armor. And 2, it doesn't deflect like that off of body armor. Why was his shirt moving from right to left? Why were people being interviewed saying, yeah, they came from my left to right, from his right to left, immediately shut down?
Okay, now the really popular theory that Rob O'Neill just talked about, and Range Day Bros talked about, a lot of people have talked about, which I have not discounted at all, have talked about him being shot from up and behind him. This is very interesting because this actually, besides one little piece, which is that they found around inside of him, this actually potentially makes the medical examiner report work with the injury and ballistics that all potentially work. Let's take a look at that. The C2 is going to be just behind the jaw there, as we've seen it, right? Now, if he gets shot from the back upper right, and again, we don't know what that angle would be because this is all hypothetical, right? We don't know where that shooter was, but anywhere you would think around the way the buildings were, they're all about that height, anywhere from like a 10 to maybe 15-degree angle here. Now, all of a sudden, if he's getting shot in the back right of the head that comes beneath the skull, anatomically, this actually works. It comes in the back underneath his skull, hits him in the C2, and then blows out at a normal refraction angle exactly where we expect to see the exit wound in this case. That actually works perfectly, ballistically, anatomically, to have created that initial impact into the C2. It probably blows down here through the C4, does some damage through C5, C6, through C7 through cavitation. The biggest,
And I think I'm onto something, because since this video, I've pretty much been on the same theory. See, I even think that he might believe my theory, but so far, because of this shirt, it's throwing everybody off, but nobody's thinking about a multi-shot theory or the necklace and if it was shot. That's so important. They were so close, yet so far away now. So yeah, my boy Nate was onto something, and I think he could get back onto it if he was able to see this. So y'all help me get the word out. Well, that's all I got to say about that. In between time, never stop questioning. Curiosity has its own very important reason for existing.